As the prophet of esports, I rely on trustworthy and meaningful data every day. Data from our research partner, YouGov, offers the most complete view of esports fans and gamers in the world, providing context to who they are, what they think, the brands they buy, and things they do. YouGov's connected insights and research services inform strategy at every level. If you're a team, a brand, agency, or rights holder, you should be talking with YouGov. Their partners measure and maximize ROI and are telling compelling stories with data. Visit yougov.com/gaming-esports to learn more. Let's talk about Fortnite, because Fortnite seems to be in the news a lot more recently, I feel like. Another big collaboration, and this one is a concert series with Ariana Grande headlining it. So the headline here, Ariana Grande headlining Fortnite's next concert series. Grande's first Rift Tour performance takes place Friday. And so she is headlining this big concert series inside of Fortnite. It's going to run from August 6th to 8th. So that's what, Friday through Sunday. And they recommend being ready in game 60 minutes before any of the performances. And supposedly they think it's going to fill up, which I have no doubt that it will. Anyone here think this is not going to draw massive numbers? Like, is this...
What do you mean by massive? Because like there's Travis Scott Fortnite massive.
Yeah,
and then
so,
there's
and
DJ
Jimmy,
Marshmallow massive.
I know you...
Which one was bigger?
Travis Scott.
Yes.
And I know you were involved, right, Jimmy?
Marshmallow was first,
Yeah.
all right.
Marshmallow was
Correct.
first. I was involved in the Travis Scott one. I think I've shared this on the show before, maybe on my podcast, where basically Travis wanted to get into video games, didn't really know what that meant or what it looked like. I fortunately knew some people on his team, and we started talking about this epic proposal and on what, they didn't understand things like microtransactions, right? Or what these live events could look like. So I was kind of helping to bridge that disconnect with their knowledge in a new ecosystem. This Ariana Grande thing to me is very interesting because she's just, I don't know, I guess who listens to her music, because I'm not a fan of hers. It's like Travis, I know who listens to him. I know he's a natural fit with the Fortnite audience. I know Ariana Grande is huge, but like I would assume she skews more female, wouldn't she? I mean, maybe that's just me being gender biased, and I would apologize for that, but I don't have this data in front of me to be like, here are Ariana Grande's listeners. Here's the overlap with Fortnite gamers. It's a natural fit. The way DJ Marshmallow and Travis, I knew, that
Perhaps
absolutely
YouGov
were.
has the data.
But Jimmy, does it matter who the artist is at this point? Meaning, if you get a sufficiently big name, is this the sort of thing where people show up because it's an event, right? It's a thing in Fortnite. So if you play Fortnite, you're going to show up. Like, I guess what I'm trying to get at here is, does it matter who the headliner is? It could be Ariana Grande. It could be, I don't know, pick some other current
does
pop
for the
star.
It does for the microtransaction. So maybe not for the viewership, because anyone's going to show up to watch because it's a unique event. Even if there's not an artist, right? Even if it's just like the end of the world black hole event, people are going to show up to watch because it's a Fortnite thing and they do it so well. Where it matters is who's going to buy the Ariana Grande skin, which, by the way, I think a lot of people will, because because all these skins in Fortnite are just like hotcakes when they're limited release, and when you're not going to get it, they sell very well. But I think in terms of the success of the event, it comes down to pairing that talent with what are the in-game purchasable items, and that's how I would measure the success more than the viewership. Personally, is how well they sold.
So they are obviously going to sell items. Sorry, I didn't mention that. They're going to sell a skin based on Grande as part of its Icon series, which previously featured with LeBron, who we talked about, and Ninja. And you're going to they're going to have a backpack based on her pet pig, and if you attend the concert, you get a special umbrella glider. So, you get some exclusives for attending. So there's a reason to show up. I guess the reason I'm pushing in that direction is, at some point when these things become even more commonplace in Fortnite, and when they become commonplace in other games that can allow for this kind of integration, right? Do we get then, like, is it no longer sort of a cool, unique event, and all of a sudden who it is matters a lot more? Like, does the novelty wear off, and are we close to the novelty wearing off with these sort of concerts and games kind of integrations?
Does anyone?
Well, I don't have. I mean, you go first. You are way more into this than I am.
Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, maybe I am really into it. Like, I don't think the novelty's worn off for me, at least, and I don't think from viewership numbers it just keeps growing. So I don't think it's worn off for the audiences either. I think you could do these twice as often and still have success. I think other games could rip off this whole concept and have tremendous success as well.
Do you think there's just insatiable demand, Jimmy, for music and game integration right now?
Well, part of it is I would love it if that were the reason, but it's hard because COVID has shut down all touring and all live music. So this was a nice alternative. Like, how would the astronomical event have done if he was actually on tour, around that time? Actually, was he on tour? Sorry. The last 2 years, are kind of blurring in my mind now. It's just great for live entertainment that we're currently like broadcasting. But I think part of the demand is because those concerts haven't been accessible, those live events. But even if they were, how easy is it to log into a free-to-play game and just watch this unique digital experience where the metaverse really is connecting all these people in new ways, where you can not only are you so. Here's an example I'll leave with is, I went to Glastonbury in the UK, which is kind of like their version of Coachella. I saw Adele, Coldplay, all these, headliners. And for the Coldplay segment, we had like these light up bracelets that they passed out. You'd raise your hand in there when they told you to. The colors would coordinate, and the crowd would kind of like a rainbow would wave. It was, I like Coldplay. I'm not a huge mega fan, but that was top 4 concert experiences in my life. Translate that now to the Fortnite events, where you're buying the skins, you're buying the emotes, and then you're in game and they turn off fighting, so you can only do certain actions, and you're part of that same unified experience where all of your characters are doing the same dance moves, or I don't know, it's just like it's the shared experience that if you're a part of it, it's incredibly exciting. And just because it's online or in person, or it's Ariana Grande or someone else, I don't think it matters. I think people just I think Gen Z in particular and Gen Alpha like being a part of something. And so again, my initial hesitation was Ariana Grande, but now as we're talking through it, I don't see how it's not a success, honestly.
I just see the plus and minus here, right? Like if it's the novelty of the shared experience driving it, then you're like, wow, this is great for gaming, because it doesn't matter who you put as a headliner. It doesn't matter who the musician is, right? This is always going to succeed. And on the flip side, I'm like, well, like at some point the shared experience novelty maybe goes away. And then if if you are dependent on the headliner, that's not good either. Jeff, I don't know if you were going to say something.
I was just, my take was sort of similar to yours. And then it's also like, I wonder, like, at what point, like, what's the end game here for Fortnite? Is it just to become like I guess we know sort of what it is. It's to become this metaverse. But, if you're continually holding concerts, at some point, does that diminish the actual game of Fortnite? Should they have their own separate concert experience where it's only open during these concerts, and maybe it's a little bit different to attract maybe a different older audience? Is there an opening for someone to create a game that's literally just virtual concerts or virtual events? I don't know. But it seems like the only time I hear about Fortnite anymore is these,
it's true.
These concerts and big events.
Or activations.
I don't know if that's bad, but
no. We were just talking about it last week because they just put the Ferrari in there.
But I feel like that is the Fortnite. That's always like the Fortnite story, right? It's not like, oh, there's this great new game mode. It's always like, look who they've partnered with this week.
Right.
But it's been working. I mean,
That's
every
true.
activation they've done has been successful. And Jeff, I disagree with you a little bit because I understand where you're coming from in saying that they could turn from, a game into like an events platform, but they've done a pretty good job of separating it out and creating unique experiences for viewers that are kind of outside of the game. And I think so far it's been really well done. Jimmy, when it comes to the audience question, I actually think this is going to be kind of an awesome metric for measuring what audiences want, just because Ariana Grande is a huge, massive pop superstar, definitely caters really well to the Gen Z audience. But you're right, she does cater more female. Will that matter? In this, I think that's going to be a super interesting question to see how she compares to Travis Scott. Travis Scott's definitely a more natural fit, but maybe he's not, and we'll get to see the numbers on that, and that'll be really cool.
She's a megastar. I'm not taking anything away from her. I agree with you. And it's funny because as she's risen to such incredible prominence, most noticeably the last 3 years of her career, where, I think she was Billboard's Woman of the Year last year, some other, notable achievements like that with the Grammys.
Jimmy knows his pop culture.
Jimmy was in the music business.
If it wasn't esports, I would be on a music podcast right now. I've had a lot of friends, male friends in particular, older millennial friends that are admitting, that they just love blasting and singing along to Ariana Grande, which I love to hear too. So,
what are her big songs? I don't even know.
Oh my gosh!
I know some, but like I don't know. Sing them, Lindsay. Sing.
No,
I want to refuse to sing, but
I mean, you don't think the audience wants to hear Lindsay sing Ariana Grande? You're crazy.
I don't think that they want that.
Cam says, "I can't wait. Who's logging in with me? I love it. Won't be me, Cam, but I still love you." And Cam says, "I think the biggest thing is meeting expectations with the artists." Yeah, I mean, if you're a fan, though, I think your expectations are gonna be met automatically, right? And if you're a fan of Fortnite, does anyone walk away from this thinking this didn't meet my expectations? Probably not, right? Probably not. Feels unlikely.
Well, again, we got to see what it sells, I think, because I have an understanding of the negotiation that happens between the artist and Epic, and on what they're going to offer as far as an appearance fee or some type of blended rev share. And we need to see what it sells, because I will tell you that if they don't make back, even if they net zero, right, on everything, because maybe she commanded an enormous fee and Epic said let's pay it. If they net zero, executives over at Activision are going to look at this and say, well, that was a failure,
Yeah.
Right.
Are they paying these people, like outside of the rev share, obviously, but are they paying it upfront? Really?
My guess would be yes. I don't know, Jimmy. I don't know if you have.
I can't really share what I know about that.
I figure as much, but I mean, it's I don't know. To some extent, you would think it's still novel enough that these artists would almost be paying them in the sense
that's part of the problem, right? If it's novel to the business manager's not like, hey, let's take a flyer on this thing, right? The business manager, the more of a flyer it is, the more I think the business manager wants cash up front.
But I'm thinking in the sense of, maybe, I guess if it's a flyer, but I was thinking the Super Bowl, didn't they flip the model a few years ago where the artist paid to perform at the Super Bowl?
That was just this year.
Ridiculous.
That was just the weekend, and that was because he wanted some creative liberties and freedom to do some things that he wanted to do. But typically the artist will command a massive appearance fee in the $500,000 and up range just to show up and perform. And depending on your clout, you can also then participate in a share of ticket sales, keeping 100% of merch sales or some astronomical percentage of merch. There's broadcast and redistribution rights if you're filming. So it really depends on how big the artist is. And when you have these A-list Grammy-winning it girls like Ariana Grande, you're going to imagine that she has very strong negotiating power compared to someone much smaller who still could be a household name, but for whatever reason, is not far along in their career. And maybe they command half of that, which is still a great payday, right? So it just comes down to, I think, how familiar you are with that artist and how strong they are currently in the public eye. It's all about their agents selling them, right? And this is the it girl. You got to have her.